Hello, and welcome to another story plucked from the shelves at the heart of the Jakuls. As always, I'm your steadfast host, Lothran, and there's so much more data to impart. So let's get back to the work, shall we? Go grab a fulfilling meal, settle into a cozy spot, and pay careful attention to Fleet Part 8, Disruption in the Current. Kam released the connection, pulling his hands from the tubes, feeling the largest part of himself slipping away. His body now small once more, his mind incomplete, there and real, but distant as he stood within himself. "Are you okay?" Kath asked in her modified Nustrudge armor behind him. He could feel her presence on the ship, knew how she hesitated to reach for him due to her previous attempts, understood in some way some of her fears, but he remained silent anyway. Kam couldn't explain himself to her. He could use the right words for 1,000 years, but unless she became like him, there really wasn't much point. "I asked if you were all right," Kath shouted, pushing Kam against the larger wall of the interior and down into one of the freshly fastened seats during Trike's period of growth. "You are hurting me, let go!" Kam replied as calmly as he could, getting very little actual calmness into his voice. Trike powered his weapons until Kam eased up. "Listen, I'm sorry, sis. I'm just distracted by all of this." "That doesn't answer my question." Kath stepped back. "Sorry." Kath swallowed as she retreated. "Upkeep for these suits is difficult, even when I have all the tools and parts, but having to make everything from scratch and create something new in the process, well, I understand now why you spent all that time alone in your workshop. It'd be better if things made some sense. If anywhere felt like home again," Kam began. "Hopping from place to place, taking 1,000 jobs with no point to any of them other than to lead to the next job. It's beginning to wear thin on me." Kam flicked one of his fingers toward the ramp, fleeing down it onto the massive carrier beyond without waiting for his sister's reply. "Kam, I'm Senator Alduir. I'll be showing you around." A scar-faced man in crisp military black and gold uniform saluted him. "I'll be your specific escort for the summit." "Are there private quarters for the carrier?" Kath asked of Alduir as she followed after her brother. Yes, madam." Alduir turned a respectful eye her way. "Male and female barracks are separate on this ship, however." "Not a problem," Kath replied, turning the translucent visor plate toward her brother. "I think my little brother and I could use a little time away from one another. Will you be escorting me, or can you provide me with directions?" "Just a moment." Alduir raised a finger and turned to a nearby display, typing in a few hasty inputs. "Sadly, even my rank doesn't provide me access to the female dorms. I've called upon the nearest free female officer to see to your needs. It has been a pleasure meeting you, but as I have other affairs to attend to, I'd like to see to your brother's needs and get back to my own." "Fair enough." Kath waved the man on, watching her brother follow in his wake like a mindless zombie. Kath wondered how long the wait might take. About a half hour of sitting around, sweating in her armor. Kath still hadn't fixed the temperature control. She wasn't going to leave the suit anywhere for prying eyes and minds to mess with it. "Hello," a cheerful woman's voice addressed Kath, where she stood examining the weapons of a Kozor fighter craft. "Are you here to show me to my quarters?" Kath asked, fairly annoyed now that she'd begun inspecting something interesting. "Yes, the flight chief wants to express her condolences. She's very busy and—" "Stuff it," Kath replied in her imposing powered armor. "Excuse me?" the woman replied in a most horrified manner. "I don't care about your introductions. I just want out of this suit. So lead me to my quarters, and I can begin extraction." Kath stepped past the woman, turning her head back and forth in haste to figure out for herself where she was supposed to go. First you'll need to stow your blaster rifle and armor somewhere. Weapons and other personal items aren't allowed. I'm not leaving my armor, Kath replied through the suit's amplifier. Then you can't enter the barracks, I'm afraid. Fine. Kath took a moment to think it over. And take me somewhere where I can bunk up next to my gear when it's not in use. The only place that might be good for that is ship maintenance, and you have to apply for a special allowance, male or female, to bunk in those areas. Well, I don't want to be treated any different than anyone else. Put in a request. Well, guests are usually just... Kath marched up to the woman, whom, although taller than Kath outside of the suit, was nothing compared to her dominating bulk within it. Listen. I'm not leaving my armor around, and you don't want me to raise a stink when you're doing a favor for a superior officer. Just put in the request and lead me to where I want to go. Kath pushed at the woman with a meaningful and servo-enhanced strong finger right in the center of her neck. And get me to a comfortable spot where I can shuck this rotten stench can I'm in, and you don't have to spend another second pissing me off. Kath shoved the woman back a few paces with the barest bit of force from her armored arm. Okay. The other woman looked down to the floor, turning to practically run away. Kath followed after, stamping only 100 or so meters around a corner, into an all-familiar sight of men and women taking apart and putting various mechanical devices back together. I'll do the rest. Kath grabbed the woman by her shoulders and pushed her back toward the exit, not caring what happened to her after Kath was done with her. She stomped to an empty partition with a bed and an open locker. This'll do. She began peeling off the suit to extricate herself from it, stepping to the cool, brisk, filtered air and the rush of flooding, welcoming sounds of energy-powered tools cutting through whatever they were being bent towards. You're not supposed to be here? A man walked up to Kath, ignoring her nudeness. Soldiers sleep in the barracks. Not a soldier. Kath ignored absolutely all of him while she began cleaning the interior of her suit. Well, just who are you, and what are you doing in my area of command? He stepped up closer to her to glare at Kath until she chose to face him. Kath continued to ignore the man. I'm here for a boring meeting with the Empiricor, but the barracks aren't what I want, so I'm out here where life is familiar. You're Kath Novier, he appraised the situation accurately. All right, if you're going to be a thorn in my side, I hear you know your way around a blaster rifle, and I have a few of those that require fixing. Kath finally turned to face him. Show me what needs fixing, and I'll get right on it. She walked up eye to eye with him, looking up to him, but knowing she was in complete control the entire time. I'll fetch you some coveralls. You can't go around naked here, the engineer stated rather plainly. Only if I haven't gotten bored and wandered off before you get back, Kath replied, turning back to properly care for her suit while pretending the world around her didn't exist. And so it is. Our time together has once more come to its end. I hope you enjoyed the tale as much as I have the telling of it. As always, I've been your astute host, Lothran, and this was Fleet Part 8, Disruption in the Current. Another tale right from the heart of the Jakuls. And now, we must part ways once again. Korvoth, guide them back to the safety they know all too well.
Yes, sir, Lothran. Oh, okay. Kath is a bit of a bully sometimes, but Lothran says she's just used to fighting for whatever she can get her hands on. And, well, that's why she seems so mean sometimes. Okay, back to my job. A pleasant greeting and a fine farewell to each and all. Please leave all your comments, questions, and kindnesses down below. None of that awful, rude, or mean stuff, though. You keep that to yourself. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to help us learn, spread, and grow. Don't forget, we strongly implore each and every one of you to do your utmost to stay safe out there. Good night and good luck, everyone. See you again tomorrow for part 9 of Fleet. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye. 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 Bye-bye.